Hi guys, it's me, Charles Francis from Ground Level Coaching, and welcome to today's Simple Monday Reflections. You see, last week for me was one of those weeks where I just felt demotivated and I felt really like I just don't want to do anything. I wasn't, I knew there was things that needed to be done. I just couldn't get myself to do it. I just didn't want to do it. That was one of those weeks. And I'm sure like the reason why I want to share with you what I learned from that week and how I managed that week, because I believe that we all at some point go through these days or weeks where we just feel just not motivated to do anything. We know there's tasks that need to be done and we just won't do it, or we just want to cut off from the world and stay in our own little bubble. And I think it's natural. I think as human beings, we are emotional beings. So it's only right that certain stimulants and things that happen outside of us are going to have effect on our emotions. And it's not so much of a bad thing as having these days or weeks as it is being unable to manage them correctly. And that's the most important thing, learning how to manage these days and weeks when they come our way correctly, instead of allowing these days to manage us and then having a negative effect on us in our lives. I remember when I was listening to one of Tony Robbins' conferences, and there was a woman in the audience. And this woman in the audience was proclaiming, saying that she suffered from depression. She was a manic depressive, and Tony Robbins' response to her was, "How do you do that?" And she was really baffled about, "What do you mean? How do I do this? How do I do that?" And he went on to explain that depression is something that you do. It doesn't happen to you, and it's not who you are. It's just something that you do. And basically, what he was saying is that not just depression, but any emotional state that affects us or that we're going through is something that we actually do. It's not something that happens to us or who we actually are. So because it's something that we do, we can also undo it. And there's ways and methods of how to undo it. And the reason why I say this is because I would challenge anyone who claims to be a depression, and this goes for sadness, it goes for happiness, it goes for in a depressed state, anger, all these emotions that we express at some point, or we tend to express at any point in our lives. It's because we do. It doesn't happen to us. And like I said, I'll go to challenge anyone who actually claims to suffer from depression or is saying that they're in a depression, that if I challenge them to sit up straight, put a smile on their face, to have a positive thought or a thought of something happy that occurred in their life. And if I challenge them to do this for 15 minutes straight, and also to to say something like positive to themselves, like I am amazing, I am great. And if I challenge to do this for 15 minutes straight, and of course their mind's going to wander off, but every time their mind wanders off, I bring them back into sitting up straight, smile on their face, shoulders erect, saying something positive to yourself, and focusing on a time where they were happy in their lives. I guarantee you they cannot be in that state of depression during that moment. They can't be. Your mind will only focus on what you put forth in front of them, because it's something that you're doing. So when you look at someone who's depressed, there's three things in motion that they're doing, which is their physiology, the way they're moving. It's also what they're focusing on, um, the pictures they're putting in their mind and the things that they're focusing on at a time. It's also their self-talk, what they're saying to themselves silently and aloud, the language that they're using out loud. All these three things are having an impact, and it's creating them to put them in that depressive state or that emotional state that they're experiencing. And if you change that within line to to how you want to feel, not how you are feeling, to how you want to feel, then your state accordingly is going to change. You're going to start to tip the scales in your favor. So the key thing, guys, is what's happening is that when we go into this bad day or this bad week or this bad month, all we're doing is just stacking up these emotions. We're stacking these emotions within ourselves to feel a certain way. So we're focusing on that. Anytime we have an emotional state, our focus changes, our physiology, the way we move changes, our self-talk, the way we talk to ourselves silently and aloud, it all changes. And it's all in line with that emotion that we're stacking up on ourselves. We're stacking. And the key is we need to break two things. We need to either create a bridge, a gap in that stack, and then change it. So we're stacking positive things, or we need to build a bigger wall. We need to build a bigger wall, so eventually that small wall, the old wall, you no longer see, or you start tipping the scales in your favor by creating more positive things in your life and using these three key elements that we have at our disposal, changing these three key things so they're in line with who we want to be, what we want in our lives, as opposed to what we're experiencing in that moment, in that emotional state we find ourselves. So guys, the key thing to remember here is that when you have these down weeks and these down days, is don't beat yourself up. Just understand that it's normal. We're emotional beings. We're going to have these days. It's more about how we manage these things. And the second thing is to realize, guys, it will pass. Sometimes, like, you're going through an emotional state or going through a bad crisis in your life, and you think it's going to be forever. But when you look down the line, 3 years from now, you don't even remember it happened. It's really insignificant in the grand picture of your whole life. So just remember, it's gonna pass, and it's only a moment. It's only a week. If it's a year, it's only a year. The most important thing is to have that decision. Make that decision that you want to change. You no longer want to be like this. You want to get on top of things. And then once you make that decision that you want to get on top of things, the key thing is these three elements to change. Make sure you're aware of these three elements. What is my physiology like? How am I moving my body? I need to change that so it's in line with how I would like to move my body. And the next thing is, guys, we need to think about, what are we focusing on? What's in my mind? What actually am I thinking? What are my thoughts about? What are they around? Are they around what I'm already experiencing, or are they around what I want to experience? Start changing your focus to the things that you want it to be like. And then the last thing is how we're talking to ourselves, silently and also aloud, the language that we're using. Making sure it's a language aligned with how we want and not how we are at the present time, not perpetuating that same thing. And then once we do these three things, eventually the tide's going to stack in our favor. It eventually will. And another thing I learned during this burnout week that I had is that sometimes it's good just to stay in the game. Even though your performance is going to be way worse than it was before, it's better to have a bad performance than not have one at all. Because what that happens is that when the tide does change and you are back on your roll, you can pick up from where you left instead of having to start from the beginning again, which happens to a lot of people. And that's why they feel that they don't really progress in life, because they end up having this circular spiral that goes round and round. They're doing well, they have a bad day. Instead of staying into the game, they stop. And when they stop, then they feel they have to start again instead of just doing it anyway. Do the thing anyway. And then eventually you're back on the roll and you realize, okay, I wasn't as far off as I thought I was. So guys, that's the key thing for today, guys, is that, we're going to have these burnout days, weeks, months, whatever. It's not that big. At the end of the day, it's just a week or a month or a day in your grand scheme of your whole life. You've got so much more going for you, so many things that you're going to do. The most important thing is, like we said, is to change that state, change how you're feeling, tipping those skills in your favor, breaking down those walls that are holding you back, and start building some fresh and some new empowering walls. Okay guys, that's me. I want you guys to have a fantastic day today. It's very windy out there. Wrap up, keep warm. Guys, stay blessed, stay safe. This world's amazing, and you all guys are amazing too. And show the world that part of you every day. Peace, I'm out. I love you all.